It's called our Gateway to Game Day. And the idea is every time you visit the MCG, you go down to the sensory friendly space. You might spend quite a long time on your first visit because you're still processing all of the senses. And then the next visit, it might be a bit shorter. And then the third visit, shorter again. And then eventually you build up a little bit of tolerance to the senses and you don't need the space as much. But should you need it, it is actually there. And we encourage people to come along and use it. And it's been really well received, and people that have never been to a football match or a cricket match before are actually telling us that because this space exists, they've come to their first event at the MCG, and whole families can now come together and no one's being left behind.
Welcome to Future Fit Leadership, a podcast for emerging, experienced and executive leaders to build community, grow capability and future focus their career pathways. There has been a global shift in how we lead, and our conversations with leaders and executives explores the skills, strategies and mindsets that is needed to thrive in this ever-evolving landscape of the future. So whether you are a seasoned executive, an aspiring leader, or simply curious about the future of leadership, we are here to give you practical insights to unlock your potential, change the status quo, and break open our assumptions on how work works. Produced in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives, Future Fit Leadership is your place for bite-sized learning for executives hungry to make a change. Hello and welcome to Future Fit Leadership podcast. I am your host, Sadhna Smiles, and I hope wherever you are listening to this podcast, you are well. It's game day. You check the weather, grab your scarf, and make your way to the train or tram and head into the MCG for the game. The train or tram is usually full of supporters from both sides. There is friendly banter. You get off at Richmond Station and you take the walk to the gates of the MCG. For those of us who don't have a disability, this process is very simple. For people with disabilities, the simple act of attending a game or event at a large venue like the MCG can be an immense challenge. They often have to do extensive planning and preparation even before they leave the house. Things that most people take for granted, like navigating crowded spaces, accessing bathrooms, and dealing with sensory overload, can be major obstacles. And without the right accommodations and support, the experience can quickly become overwhelming and cause significant distress. And often they simply choose to opt out of attending events. The MCG is not just any stadium. It has long been a symbol of Australia's sporting culture, with many Melburnians claiming the title as the world's sporting capital. But it is also a symbol of cultural inclusion and unity. I have been lucky enough to be at many grand finals, and when the stadium is at capacity and you hear the roar of the crowd, it is like no other place. What you may have never considered is that at capacity, the MCG is the size of Bendigo and needs to provide all the facilities that a small city does. Ensuring accessibility and inclusion for all their patrons, regardless of their abilities, is a top priority for the MCG team. Today, we have a very special guest. Asher Nolan is the Diversity and Inclusion Lead at the Melbourne Cricket Club. And I have to say, I'm very jealous of her job. Asher takes us behind the scenes to learn about the amazing initiatives the MCG has implemented, from sensory-friendly spaces to accessibility familiarisation days for major events like the Taylor Swift concert, all of which is making a huge difference. Many venues fall short when it comes to providing inclusive and accessible spaces. However, Asher and her team recognise the extra challenges faced by people with disabilities and special needs and are working to remove these barriers, allowing attendees to fully participate and enjoy events like everybody else. The MCG is leading the way in making their iconic venue truly welcoming and accessible for everyone. This is a fascinating look at how a large-scale organisation proactively addresses access issues and is creating an unforgettable experience for all. Whether you're a sports fan, a concert goer, or simply interested in diversity and inclusion, I promise you, you will really enjoy this insightful conversation. And if you are a Melburnian, you will be really proud of what the MCG is doing. Please enjoy this fabulous conversation with Asher Nolan. Hello, Asher. Welcome to Future Fit Leadership Podcast. So wonderful to have you on the show and to catch up with you again. How are you?
I'm good, Sadhna. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. And for those listeners, Asher and I met because we were speaking at the Property Council event a few weeks ago, and Asher was on a panel and shared some really interesting things that she's doing at the MCG. And I thought, oh, wow, that's fascinating. Let's get you on the podcast. But before we get into that and what your fabulous job is, as we do with all of our guests, maybe share a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I'm Asher. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Lead for the Melbourne Cricket Club, and we are the ground managers of the Melbourne Cricket Ground. So obviously Australia's biggest stadium, and when we're at capacity, which is 100,024, we have a population that rivals that of Bendigo. So you can imagine everything that a small town needs to have, we need to have as well. So things like your waste services, your emergency services, safety, security, food, anything that people in a town need, we also need to factor in at the MCG. What brought me to the MCG in 2019 was a customer service project. So my background's been in project management, sustainability, hospitality, and then a love of sport drew me to an ad at the MCG and picked up a customer service project looking after the customer experience. And a really big component of the customer experience at the MCG is accessibility. So I sort of fell into it. I didn't have a lot of experience with accessibility before this role. My dad's a disability support worker and he works largely with adults with autism and other hidden disabilities. So I'd had some understanding, but I wouldn't say I was an expert or had lived experience or anything like that. So it was a steep learning curve the last 5 years to get myself up to speed and find out what the MCG experience is like for someone with accessibility needs, and brought in lots of different experts with lived experience over the last few years to really get up to speed and find out how we can make the stadium better for everybody.
It really struck me when you said that at capacity, the MCG has 124,000 people in it, which is the size of Bendigo. So whatever a small city like Bendigo needs, you need as well in terms of facilities. And I had never, ever thought of it in that way. And I don't think many people who attend the MCG would actually sit in that stand and go, yeah, I'm in something like Bendigo, You just don't consider it, do you? I want to talk a little bit about the customer survey that you did around the experience for people who need, particular accessibility. Were you brought on specifically to do that survey, or was it after you came on board that was part of, you went to the MCG and said, we need to do this?
So when I started, we were doing monthly customer service surveys to understand the guest experience when they come in. And one of the sentiments that was coming through, that was someone with a disability has a much harder time or a poorer experience when they interact with us. And we wanted to dive a little bit deeper and understand, well, what was it that was actually creating this poorer experience? And we brought in Get Skilled Access to conduct some spectator experience surveys. So Get Skilled Access are disability consultants. We ran surveys with our members and guests. We did some focus groups, and we had people with lived experience of disability come on site to some events and step through this whole spectator experience journey from arrival to departure and everything in between. And it was those results that really showed us where we were falling short, and what we were doing well too. It wasn't all doom and gloom. We had some good wins as well that really came to the front through the surveys. But this was able to provide us with recommendations and essentially our strategy to move forward. Like, this is our action plan based on lived experience.
And then from that, the survey and the conversations that you had with your customers, you built a strategy between 2021 to 2026. Tell us more about this, because you landed on 3 pillars around that, didn't you?
The MCC's strategy was rolled out in 2021, and we wanted to be a world-class stadium And as part of that, we identified that we needed to be excellent with our access. So we need to make sure that was at the forefront of all decisions. We also wanted to create unforgettable experiences for MCC members and visitors. And to do this, we need to make sure that the MCG was inclusive. And we also want to have leadership in our DNA so that everything that we were doing at this stadium, the MCG, reflected the community as well. So, yeah, we sort of took those pillars and ran with it throughout every single action item in our customer service and accessibility action plan.
How much of this does the whole leadership team, because when you look at the three pillars, world-class, unforgettable, and leadership, and the G reflects the community, which is the piece that I love, because quite often I talk about how businesses need to reflect the community, because when you reflect the community, then you have better engagement and connection and more success through that. I'm interested to hear how much the leadership team, MCC, MCG, actually lives these three pillars.
Yeah, I think like any project, you're not going to get very far if the people at the top, the key decision makers, aren't on board. And I've been very fortunate at the MCC that we've got great buy-in from our executive leadership team and the CEO, as well as the committee and the trust sitting above them again. They're committed to the goals, to the actions, and are all on board. So it's been great and, yeah, very supportive of the projects that I've worked on.
I'd like to dig into some of the particular things that you've been doing in this space, and you've given me a huge list, so we're going to go through as many as we possibly can. But I want to start with the sensory friendly space. I have had no exposure to this at all, but I'm really interested to find out how that works at the MCG.
Yeah, so if you think about your last visit to the MCG, it was probably very busy, very noisy, lots of people around. You might have had fireworks or the smoke show, loud drums for some entertainment, some smells were in the air. You compound all of this together with a process that maybe you're not familiar with, or a process of change since your last visit. It starts to get a little bit overwhelming. And for somebody who might live with a disability, it could be autism or a sensory processing difference. All of these stimulations and senses can cause you to feel very overwhelmed very quickly, and your body can actually shut down. So we acknowledged all of this. We acknowledged it was a difficult place to get through, anxiety inducing, and we needed to provide an area where someone could go to feel calm, safe, supported when they came to the MCG, so that when they did feel this overwhelmment, they could have a rest, take some time out, and then when they felt a little bit better, whether it be in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 3 hours, they could then return to the match, not have to go home. We thought, how can we do this? We'll find a quiet area with some stimulation, but mostly it's quite low sensory, somewhere that they can still watch the match so that you're not sitting in a room and have no idea what's going on. We put the AFL or the cricket on a screen, so you're still part of the action, but you just don't have all of the additional sensory overload that comes with an MCG experience. So it's called our gateway to game day. And the idea is every time you visit the MCG, you go down to the sensory friendly space. You might spend quite a long time on your first visit because you're still processing all of the senses. And then the next visit, it might be a bit shorter. And then the third visit, shorter again. And then eventually you build up a little bit of tolerance to the senses, and you don't need the space as much. But should you need it, it is actually there. And we encourage people to come along and use it. And it's been really well received, and people that have never been to a football match or a cricket match before are actually telling us that because this space exists, they've come to their first event at the MCG, and whole families can now come together and no one's being left behind because they felt that there was no place for them at a loud stadium.
To share experiences, whether it's a concert or a footy game or cricket or anything, really, to be able to share that with everybody in your family, knowing there's a space they can go to if it becomes overwhelming for them. How many people are using a room like this on average at the MCG?
Yeah, so last year we had 3,000 people through the doors of the sensory space. And this year, as of Sunday, we had 2,780 people in this year already. So I think we're going to exceed 3,000 this year pretty soon, probably in September. And it just shows how important a space like this is. And as awareness increases, more and more people are hearing about it, finding out about it, and coming to visit and just have that extra quiet time.
Well, they're people who probably would have come to the MCG otherwise, right? So what a wonderful experience. Now you
Yeah.
also do loan sensory kits.
hmm
Talk to me about that. What is that?
Yeah, so it's similar to the sensory friendly space. Not everyone does want to be removed from the action and sit in our nice room. So we do have the option to loan a bag to a patron. It's got noise cancelling headphones in it, some fidget toys, and a visual communication tool where you can point to how you're feeling on a card. And this kit can go back with the patron to the seat so that they're still enjoying the atmosphere outside, but they've got some strategies with them so that they might be able to cope when things do get noisier or they find themselves overstimulated without missing out on a minute of the game.
And then you have storyboards that you use that you can help prepare patrons if it's their first visit, etc., I assume?
Yeah, and that's probably been one of my biggest takeaways from all of the accessibility work is that a person with disability does so much preparation before they leave the house because things are hard. So if we can provide as much information as we can and prepare people and let them know this is the process that you're going to experience when you come to the MCG today ahead of time, that gives themselves time to learn, to practice, to prepare, to understand. So we have a visual story and it's a set of photos that step someone through the experience of coming to a football match, a cricket match, or a concert. So you can visualize everything that you will encounter before you come. And hopefully it makes your eventual visit a lot easier.
How wonderful. Actually, connecting to that, one of the conversations that you and I had was the accessibility familiarisation day that you ran for the Taylor Swift concerts. And I'm going to have to confess, I heard that you did go to the concert because it was kind of work for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an epic 3 days. We didn't sleep a lot, but it was incredible.
Yeah. But what I love about what you did for a lot of people who had access or disability, that you actually opened the MCG up for them to come and take a tour beforehand to know where everything was. Talk to me about that because I've never heard that happen before at concert venues or sporting venues.
Yeah, I think it's probably a first for a stadium, particularly in Australia. I haven't heard of any stadiums doing something like this on this scale, but I'm going to brag again here. I attended the Ed Sheeran concert at the MCG the year previously, and we had a fair amount of feedback about the accessibility of the concert, and a lot of first-time visitors expressed how difficult it was to get around. They weren't familiar with the venue. Things were just really hard. So when we heard that Taylor Swift was coming, we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Yeah, to make it a really memorable experience for everybody, but particularly for those people with disability who were coming to the MCG for the first time. So with our customer service and accessibility group, we set about thinking about some ways that we could make things easier, and Accessibility Familiarisation Day came out of that, where we got in touch with everybody who had purchased a Taylor Swift ticket with an accessible seat or a companion card and said, hello, we're going to open up the stadium 2 weeks prior to the concert. We'd like to take you on a tour of the stadium, show you exactly where you're going to be sitting, show you where the nearest bathrooms are, the nearest first aid, talk you through the emergency evacuation process, and just help you feel more comfortable attending the MCG when you're here again for the concert. Would you like to come? So we went out to a fair amount of people. I think it was more than 500 people. And we had 175 people say, yes, please, we'll be there. And they came along and experienced all the things that they would experience on concert day, on a quiet day before the hustle and bustle had arrived. So when they did eventually come for the concert, similar to the visual story, they knew what they were going to expect. They knew where they were going. They could say to our staff, no, I've got this, leave me alone, and go about their business. So it was a huge win for the customers, and we had lots of great feedback. We even had tears on the day saying, thank you so much for doing this. It's the first time we really felt seen by a stadium. So that was really rewarding and one of my favourite MCG memories to date. But the other side of it was that it also uncovered a few things that we weren't aware of on the day. So we had a couple of people come in, show us their tickets. We took them to their seats and the seats didn't exist. So we're like, oh gosh, but so good that we know about this 2 weeks before the concert. We're able to get in touch with our maintenance team, make sure that the seats were actually there or relocate people where we could. So yeah, there were some advantages for the stadium operations by doing that as well.
What a great initiative. Was that your idea?
Yeah, with the project working group. I'm not taking all the credit.
Well, you all did very well. And I'm assuming it's something that you'll continue to do in other concerts or other events like that, because it's what you said a little bit earlier. And I think sometimes we forget how much planning someone who has a disability has to do before they leave the house. And they don't always control the environment they're in as to where they're going to, whether it's a football match, a restaurant, wherever it may be. They don't control that environment. But to be able to pre-plan and know exactly where things are going to be really reduces their stress down.
Absolutely. And I think the more information every business, including us, can put on their website or make available to people, the better. It's a win-win. I think people are a bit scared to say this is what's happening or this is the process. It actually helps people if they can understand what is being offered and then provide options or think about alternatives. It really helps everybody.
You also run a program called the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower, which allows someone with a hidden disability to make their disability visible. How did you land on that and how does it work?
This is a program that started in London. And it sort of got lots and lots of traction overseas, particularly with the airports, because airports, as you probably know, you do a lot of traveling. They're quite anxiety-inducing places and there's lots of processes. So someone with a hidden disability can, again, feel quite overwhelmed going through it. But by wearing the sunflower, which is a green background with a yellow sunflower, it lets staff members or health workers or just other members of the public know that you might have a hidden disability and you might need a little bit more time, help or support to go about a process. So it indicates to someone discreetly that you have a hidden disability. And we thought this is a great opportunity for the MCG to be a part of this program also, because it is quite a nerve-wracking place to visit. And if we could help our patrons by training our staff to recognise the sunflower too, they would then see a patron arriving. Maybe they're wearing the sunflower lanyard, maybe a sunflower pin or a sunflower bracelet. Our staff can approach that person and say, can I help you? It's as simple as that. And allow a person to take a little bit more time finding their seat, scanning their tickets, going through the security process. So that's been hugely beneficial too. It doesn't mean that everybody with a hidden disability is going to start wearing a sunflower. So we've asked our staff who feel comfortable to wear a pin that says, I support the sunflower, similar to the pin I have, so that someone can approach me and know that I've done my hidden disability sunflower training and ask me for help with something. And we can help them get through the stadium as easy and calmly as possible.
And I assume that if I am someone who needs something like that, I just contact the MCG and you take care of it from there?
Yeah, so we provide sunflower lanyards to people who want them for free. So if you visit the MCG at any time, you can pick up a sunflower lanyard, or you can talk to one of our staff members over the phone or in person about picking up a sunflower too.
Now, there's two other initiatives I've read recently around your involvement. CALD Play, C-A-L-D Play. I don't know how much involvement you've had with that. And then the other one was the MCC partnership with the Western Bulldogs Community Foundation. I was really intrigued to see both of those. Could you talk to us about what those two are about?
Yeah, so more recently I've stepped into a diversity and inclusion role. So it's a lot bigger than just disability and accessibility. And we're in the process of rolling out a diversity and inclusion strategy for the club and the stadium. And we want to make sure, like I said before, that the MCG does reflect the community and that we are doing work through our community organisations, and Coldplay being one of them, as well as our partnership with the Western Bulldogs, just exposing new people to the MCG. So potentially people who don't speak English as a first language, new Australians, migrants, refugees, who maybe have never had the opportunity to come to the MCG but have always admired it, watching cricket in their hometown, but maybe financially they don't have the ability to come. Through these organisations and these partnerships, we open the doors and take them on a tour and allow them to live out their childhood dreams, because at the end of the day, the MCG is just a big dream.
Asher, you also do a number of other things around the all-gender bathroom and the changing places bathroom. Particularly today, I'm assuming that's been a huge benefit to your attendees who come there who want to be able to go to bathrooms that are all-gendered or places that they can change, etc. What's been the reaction to that?
these bathrooms are another way that we can make sure that everybody, every Melburnian feels welcome, safe and included at the MCG. So we had one of the first changing places in the country installed at the MCG. And it just meant that someone with high support needs doesn't have to leave a football game or a cricket game at halftime because they have to go to the bathroom. We now have the means with an adult-sized change table and a hoist to get somebody safely onto a toilet. And they don't miss a minute of the action, which again, it's all we're about, just making sure that everyone's included for every minute of play. And similarly with the all-gender bathroom, we just had the male, female and disability bathrooms until this year. But the all-gender bathroom now allows somebody, whether they're non-binary, gender diverse, to use a facility without feeling unsafe, or that maybe they're going to be questioned by somebody if they're using a facility. And it means that the disability bathrooms too aren't being used by people who don't actually have a disability. It gives more options, more choice, but it also allows parents with young children to take their child into the bathroom, not separate them or ask a stranger, do you mind taking my son or daughter into your bathroom because I don't want something to happen. So it allows family groups to stay together too. So it's had wins for everybody, and it's really good to see that.
I'm interested to see that in 2022, you opened up a multi-faith prayer room.
Yes.
With separate spaces for men and women and adjoining bathrooms, etc. How many faiths are you covering in that one room, or is it sort of a space where anyone can go into and, you know, whether you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, whatever that happens to be, do your prayers whenever you need to and can go back and enjoy the game again?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. It's for everybody. It's a multi-faith prayer room. It was designed and built with the Jewish, Christian, Muslim Association of Australia. All of the religions had their input and were able to advise us on things to include to ensure it met the needs of different religions without making it one. So we've kept it quite neutral so that it can appeal to the most number of patrons. And it does have the separate spaces and ablution units too, which you don't often see in prayer rooms.
I'm going to say I've been to the MCG many, many, many times, and I think I'm probably living proof of someone I don't have any disabilities. And I've never really been aware of all of these things that you do until you got up on stage and started to talk about it. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because we have probably a real, not lack of understanding, but lack of exposure and comprehension around what someone with any form of disability has to do to get to a football game, which in Australia we take for granted, do we? It's like a Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Sunday. Most of us, particularly in Melbourne, are found at the MCG.
Yeah, it is so true. And most people would just scan in, go to their seats, grab a drink, go to the loo, head home. And you don't think about all the other things that are happening or what somebody else might need.
What's been the reaction of particularly the customers who are accessing all of these different support systems that you have?
Yeah, the reaction's been overwhelmingly positive. It's been so great to see. And there's always the person that you think, oh, you know, they're not going to be happy with this, or I'm going to hear about this. But we gradually, those comments start to die down and you get more positive ones. We had one person that just sent in this really nice letter saying, you know, previously my experience has been horrible. And the subject of this email was just, well done. Thank you so much. Things are so much easier for us now. And it's those letters and those comments that make you go, oh, we've really made a difference. And you don't often think installing one automatic toilet door is going to change the world, but it changes one person's world. Yeah, it's been really good, and positive feedback has definitely increased in the last 12 months. I think the Taylor Swift concert and all the initiatives were really promoted throughout that. It's a very young demographic that were very active on social media. So a lot of things that the average footy cricket goer probably weren't aware of. The Taylor Swifties made sure that the world knew about it, and it put MCG on the metaphoric accessibility map, so to speak.
What about the people who work there? I can imagine that a lot of the people who work at the MCG, and a lot of them are part-timers or volunteers or only work on weekends. They must be so proud of all the things, all the initiatives that are now in place.
Yeah, the staff love it. They're really engaged and supportive as well. Everyone wants to work in the sensory friendly space because they get to have such positive interactions with our customers and feel like they're really making a difference to the people that visit that area. Working in our accessibility team too, particularly for concerts when there's a lot of escorting persons with wheelchairs on and off the arena. It's a highly sought after position and people just want to know more and find out how they can do more to support people with an accessibility. And comments from the permanent team in the office too, that they just feel really proud that the MCG is committed to things like this. And yeah, it obviously makes me feel good too that people want to get involved and support all of these great projects because that's what they are. They're great.
Anything you go through like this over any period of time, there's always lessons to be learned. So what are some of the lessons that you've learned or the team has learned or the MCG has learned as you've put some of these initiatives in place?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. Working in this space, it can be very overwhelming. I think there is so much to do and to learn, and you just need to work out where to start sometimes because you can go, oh, we need to do this, we need to fix this, this isn't working, this needs improving. Just about taking the time and going, okay, what are we going to prioritize because we can't do everything all at once. We can't be everything to everybody. So just working out what's your priority, what's your critical mass for change and starting there and then going from there. I think that's been one of the key learnings. But also don't underestimate the significance of something that might be seemingly small, like we mentioned the toilet door, to a sentence on a website about how far it is from the train station to the MCG can actually change someone's whole experience. So if you tell them that it is 300 metres, do it. So just little things can have a big impact. I think it's been an important lesson as well.
What are the future plans and some of the new initiatives you're going to bring in? Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah, so one thing we're really keen to implement are relaxed visiting hours in the Australian Sports Museum. So a lot of people also don't know that we have an Australian Sports Museum.
I didn't know that.
Underneath the stadium.
Really?
So we do, yeah. You'll have to come and visit.
I will.
It's an Olympic year. We have an Olympic exhibition. We've also got footy, cricket. There's lots of interactive areas to play in, lots of sports. So yeah, come on down and check it out. But one thing we are doing is introducing relaxed hours so that people can come to the Australian Sports Museum in a more sensory friendly environment. So similar to like quiet shopping hours you might see it at Woolworths. That's what we're trialling in the Sports Museum, so that if you do need to come in a low sensory, muted visiting time, you will be able to. So we're exploring that next. We've also recently introduced Auslan interpreted MCG tours too, which have had really good feedback. So get on the website and have a look, book one of those in if that's for you. And of course, keen to do more accessibility familiarisation days. We're just waiting for the next concert. Hopefully there's a next one to be announced so that we can start thinking about that one.
I want to finish off by reading that sign behind you. And the sign says, the MCG is more than a stadium, it's a meeting place, a special place, a place where greatness is born and it's calling us. What a wonderful quote. Probably summarises what we've been talking about, because it is a special place. And I think all the things that you've done at the MCG, particularly those with special needs, disability, you've actually made it a special place for them as well. And at the same time being really, really inclusive. So congratulations, Asher. I mean, I reckon you've got the best job in Melbourne, personally. I think most of us would love to work at the MCG because you get to go to all the concerts and all the sporting games. So absolutely, you've got the best job in the world. But what wonderful achievements you've managed to put through in your time there. So congratulations to you and the team.
Oh, thanks, Sadna. Yeah, I agree. It's a very good job. I'm staying around.
Yeah, they'll have to wheel you out of there.
Yeah,
literally.
No, it's amazing, and yeah, who wouldn't want to work at the MCG?
Oh no, you'd have people lining up. I'd come and work at the MCG. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing the story for many of our attendees at the MCG. Hopefully, it gives them a better appreciation of all the stuff that you do behind the scenes.
Thanks, Sadna. It's great to chat.
If you like what you've heard, please share, rate and review this podcast. And don't forget to share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing it. The producer of Future Fit Leadership is Maritza Barone from Guide Your Light Network. If you would like to reach out to me, please DM me on any of my social media platforms. I'm available for speaking at conferences or consulting to your business. Future Fit is created in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives. If you'd like to join the community and receive a free takeaway each week, sign up to the Future Exchange app in my show notes. Thank you for having me in your space.
This is a Guide Your Light Network production, creating podcasts with purpose.